Welcome to the Explainer. So let's talk about Greenland. You know, that giant island of ice most of us barely even think about? Well, it turns out it's suddenly at the very center of a massive global power struggle. And today, we're going to figure out why.
I mean, why on earth would the United States want to buy Greenland? On the surface, the whole idea sounds, well, a little nuts, right? Especially when you look at the basic facts.
Okay, get this. A staggering 80% of its surface is covered by a thick sheet of ice. We're talking over 2 kilometers deep in some spots. It's basically a massive frozen desert.
And the population? It's tiny, just 57,000 people. That's about the size of a small town, and almost all of them are living on these little coastal strips where the ice hasn't taken over.
Plus, the average temperature is a bone-chilling minus 30 degrees Celsius. So, you've got ice, a tiny population, and it's freezing. What in the world makes this place so incredibly valuable? Well, the answer is this incredible mix of old history, hidden treasure, and a planet that's, well, it's changing fast.
Now, you might think all this talk is pretty recent, but America's interest in Greenland, it goes way, way back. This isn't some new idea, it's practically an old American obsession.
I mean, look at this timeline. The US has been trying to buy Greenland for over 150 years. The first shot was way back in 1867, right after they bought Alaska, but Congress just dismissed it. Then President Taft tried in 1910. And get this, in 1946, President Truman offered Denmark what would be over $1 billion in today's money. The goal has always been the same: to get a strategic foothold at the top of the world.
But the latest talk has a much more aggressive tone, and that has put geopolitical experts on high alert. It feels like the stakes are way higher now than they've ever been. So what's changed? Why the big rush all of a sudden? Is it really just about military positioning?
Well, to understand that, you have to stop looking at the ice and start thinking about what's under it, because that's where the real story is. The true value of Greenland, it's completely hidden from view.
Okay, so buried under all that ice is one of the world's biggest collections of what are called rare earth elements. Now, you can think of these things as like the secret sauce for all our future tech. They're literally in everything. The magnets in your electric car, the turbines in a wind farm, the super powerful chips that make AI work, they are absolutely crucial.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Right now, as this chart shows, China controls about 90% of the world's supply of these things. That is a huge deal. They basically have a monopoly, which gives them an incredible strategic advantage, like a chokehold on the entire global tech industry. So for the US, getting access to Greenland's minerals isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a matter of national security.
But wait, there's more. It's not just rare earths. We're also talking about a mind-boggling amount of oil. The estimates say there are at least 31 billion barrels of it just under the ice in northeast Greenland. And you know what? That's probably a lowball estimate.
Okay, so we've got rare earths, we've got oil, but even that isn't the full picture. A huge part of Greenland's value comes down to one simple thing: location, 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 and the critical stuff that's already built there.
See, the US already has this massive military installation there, Thule Air Base. It's home to this incredibly powerful radar system that's basically our first tripwire for any missiles coming over the North Pole. Not only that, but it's also where the crucial undersea internet cables connecting North America and Europe come together. So if you control Greenland, you control all that. So let's recap. We've got minerals, oil, and a strategic military base. All hugely important, right? But the ultimate prize, the real reason for all this urgency, it's something brand new, something that's only becoming possible because our planet is getting warmer.
For basically all of human history, the Arctic has been this giant frozen wall of ice. You just couldn't get through it. But as the ice melts, a legendary shortcut is opening up for the first time: the Northwest Passage.
And this right here shows you what an absolute game changer this is. Okay, let's say you're a ship going from Shanghai to London. The old way, through the Suez Canal, is about 20,000 kilometers. The new Arctic route, only 11,000. You're talking about chopping off nearly half the distance, saving like 2 weeks of travel time and millions of dollars in fuel on just one trip. Now multiply that by thousands of ships every single year.
And as you can imagine, this has kicked off an absolute scramble between the superpowers. Russia wants to control its massive Arctic coastline and basically charge a toll. China is pouring money into what it's calling a polar Silk Road. And the US, well, it's terrified of getting left behind in the cold.
because whoever controls this new highway becomes the gatekeeper for a massive slice of global trade.
And this is where Greenland becomes the absolute jackpot. It sits perfectly right at the front door to this new global superhighway. So owning Greenland, it's not just about owning an island full of ice and rocks. It's about owning the most valuable toll booth on the planet.
So, let's play this out. What if the US actually pulls this off? What if they manage to take control of Greenland, one way or another? The fallout could be immense. We could be talking about completely reshaping the world as we know it. I mean, experts are warning this could set off a whole chain reaction of bad events. For starters, making a move against Denmark, a fellow NATO member, could blow up the entire alliance. The US would instantly become the undisputed king of the Arctic, which would shatter trust with all its allies in Europe. You could see a brand new Cold War kicking off with China and Russia over these resources and trade routes. And maybe the saddest part of all, the unique culture and the hopes for independence of the Greenlandic people themselves, they could be lost forever in all of this. So at the end of the day, what happens to this giant island of ice is probably going to define the next 100 years of global politics. The big question is, what will that future look like? Are we going to see cooperation in this new frontier? Or are we about to watch an all-out conflict for the world's last great prize? A conflict that could change everything.